Alright, so today we're going to be making a brand new tier list, ranking every meta unit and anime last stand, as of the most recent Hunter x Hunter update. I hope you enjoy the video or find it helpful. If you do, maybe leave a like or subscribe. But anyways, let's get into it. Today we're starting off with the tier list I made in my last tier list video. So if you have any questions about the rankings you see here, recommend you go check that video out. Might be a couple things different today. I did kind of condense down some units, so Shinra is now other forms here would be Dark, Light, and Fire. Then a couple people got taken off the list completely to make room for the new units we'll be talking about today. Now, a lot of you probably know this update we got a soul rework, and that's actually pretty huge to the meta of the game. I'm still testing out like how every soul is going to affect the meta now, so this tier list is probably going to be pretty scuffed. Take it with a grain of salt. I do also want to make a few quick changes to the list after the soul rework. First, I'm going to move down Gust to below Shadow and Yuta. Gust still has really good raw damage for sure, but damage of course is getting power crept every update, so you know, moving him down a little bit. Mihawk is also going to move down from meta overall to meta early. This guy's DPS is not actually that crazy on the final upgrade, and I'd say he's better overall being used as a meta early unit for sure. In the decent tier, we're going to move Tanjiro up a little bit because they changed another thing about his rework. They made him actually able to keep his form during the breathing mode or whatever. Now for the major changes because of the soul rework, I'm going to move Asta up to meta early, and Yorichi also up to meta early, right above him. Pretty much if you had the right souls on your farms and on your units for cost reduction here, anything below 2k cost can kind of be a meta early unit in my opinion. This is definitely going to be a questionable part of the tier list for now, because we're still kind of messing around with the soul rework and how to use the cost reduction tier advantage. There are probably a bunch of other units that could be called meta early now, but I don't know. Kind of deciding what I want to do with this tier now that we got the new souls for farming meta. Finally, I'm going to make one quick change to the farm tier. I'm going to move Bulma up to above idle. Bulma can take better advantage of the newly reworked farming souls, and she's kind of better overall for early game and late game. Now we can actually get started on the brand new people. So we have everyone from the Hunter x Hunter update, and everyone from the Galaxy update a couple weeks ago, that I just never ended up dropping a tier list for. Starting off with the Blast unit here. This is from the Infinite Castle. He's not very good, he's just kind of raw damage. He doesn't have any interesting passives or anything. He's a cheap hill unit with pretty okay DPS and like a mini nuking ability. Yeah, nothing too crazy with him. Put him in decent and probably right about here. I mean good tier, I'll put him in good tier. Now Hisoka, this is probably the best unit from the Hunter x Hunter update in my opinion, overall. He takes a very long time to get. I wouldn't even recommend going for him, if I had to be honest. But he is really good, so I mean, really good damage, really good like rewind and stalling, slow down as well. He's kind of like, very similar to Shanks, so that he can double as a support from like rewinding and stalling that he has. But he's also really good just for his raw damage alone, so a very solid unit overall. The other Hunter event unit, I think his name might be Illumi, or Needle Guy, whatever it was. He is also, in my opinion, not worth the grind. I put him in the good tier and probably like right about here. He does actually have pretty good damage, don't get me wrong. I would say his DPS is like pretty alright, but it doesn't make up for his AoE and his other passives, because his AoE can only hit like 5 enemies, it's really bad. And then his passives are pretty griefing, they're pretty bad. They're going to like nerf other units in his range for 10 attacks, and depending on the damage that nerfed unit does in 10 attacks, he is going to kind of buff himself. He's overall like a greedy DPS unit, and I feel like his major downfall is just his AoE size is just really bad on final upgrade. So he's okay for raw damage, but not too crazy. Killua. This guy is pretty easy to pick up from Banner 3, but evolving him does take a while. You gotta grind for the yo-yo item on Act 2 of the new Legend stage. In my opinion, not really worth the grind, but he's not that bad. I'd say he's going in the good tier and probably like right about here. Doesn't really have much going on other than raw damage, besides like, I guess Electrified and Bolt for slowdown. His DPS does not really shake the earth or anything. I don't know, his DPS is just kind of okay. I wouldn't really use him personally. He's pretty cheap, and a lot of his passives are reliant on like temporarily buffing him, so he's kind of like conditional. Even his Bolt is kind of RNG, but I don't know, he's just alright. If you get lucky with his passives and like the timing of everything, he can be okay. Now for Gon, I feel like a lot of people see his high damage number and think he's like really good. This guy, not meta overall in my opinion. I feel like by design, Gon takes a while to fully get going. Like he unlocks a lot of passives and abilities and attacks on upgrade 7, which is like the second to last one. and I'd say he's like overall meta infinite unit. He's not going to be too great for every game mode out there. For infinites alone, he does have a pretty strong nuke, which is going to do, I think, up to 10 trillion damage if you use it at the right time. Otherwise, he does also have pretty good damage numbers overall, but it takes a while to ramp up from his like temporary buffing passives and whatever, and his damage can kind of fluctuate. I don't know. He's not that bad though, just for raw damage and a nuke, he's okay. Meta infinite in my opinion. The Abyssal Trial guy, Frollo. He actually is not that hard to grind, in my opinion one of the better units of the update for sure. Just kind of by design, he can pretty much always be meta. Like, I don't see him getting power crept because he has an ability where he can conditionally copy any unit's ability in his range. So I'm going to put him in meta infinite for that. I feel like he's not overall that crazy because like the requirement to get his ability copying thing, you have to really get lucky with one of his like bookmark RNG passives. I don't know. I recommend watching my video on this guy if you don't know what he does, but he's meta infinite in my opinion. He can copy other unit abilities, so he can pretty much be most of the units in the meta infinite tier are good for their nuking. He can pretty much just do that by copying them. Otherwise, he is full AoE, really good damage, some supporting value as well. Arguably meta overall, but like, I don't know, in my opinion he's not that great until you get the final ability copying thing going. I think this guy's name is Kurapika, or Kurapika. Hopefully I'm saying that right one way or the other. He is pretty easy to get. I think you get him from the story on Act 6, and then the Evo item from Legend Act 1, very easy. But he's actually not that bad. He is going to be full AoE on final upgrade, pretty good DPS. Not really like groundbreaking damage, and he does need to... One of his passives is reliant on rolling a low chance every attack. So he'll like enter a mode where he gets a little buff and unlocks a new ability. Pretty much this guy has the chain menu thing. He has like a chain ability where he pulls up 3 different modes, 4 if you're in his other like form RNG thing. Pretty much just has like stat changes or like a mini nuke or like slowing down enemies or whatnot. A little bit of supporting value, mostly kind of full AoE DPS and just kind of okay. I would say he's going in the good tier. I'd put him right about here in the good tier. Now we're getting to the units from the Samsung update that I should never ranked before. The Rim Jiao is really good for raw damage, and that's kind of like all he has really going for him. I don't know, a little bit of passives and everything. The way he works is like he has a chance to perform a follow-up attack, and that follow-up attack can crit, and if it crits he can also like do some crazy nuke thing. I would say it's really good for damage, and not much else there. The Blue Flame guy. He is pretty good for debuffing enemies with fear and making them take more burn damage, and I'd say he's probably the top of the good tier. Not meta overall because like kind of conditional, or situational I mean. You'd want to use him with like burn teammates or something. But he's actually really good for his own DPS and pretty good supporting value. Merlin I would say is going in the support tier. She is going to cleanse debuffs that are on your units and make them do more elemental damage, I believe. She's like random spells or something for every element that can kind of make enemies take more damage from certain elements. And she does have like a nullified effect, which is gonna, I believe it removes elemental disadvantage, I think, maybe. Overall, she's pretty okay support and not the worst damage ever. If I remember correctly, she is actually full AoE too. So, I don't know, she can be pretty okay for her own damage, but I'll put her in support and right about here. And finally, Mr. Samsung himself, the Galaxy guy. I'd put him in the bottom of good tier. Yeah, it's just not that great. I mean, like, his damage is very underwhelming. He has a couple supporting passives that are, like, okay at best and not that great. And he's just kind of pretty alright for brand new players, especially in, like, early World 2. But overall, I mean, he's not anything special. And here we have the final rankings. Again, I would say take this list with a grain of salt, a huge one, even more than normal, because we got the soul rework this update, and definitely changed the meta a lot, and I haven't tested it out fully, but a lot of units can kind of count as like meta early now, because of how good farming is and how easy you can get cost reduction. Everything here is my opinion at the end of the day, and I expect the list to get a little bit better over time, because right now it's pretty rough. By the way, sorry if I was bad at talking or making sense in this video. I'm very tired. The new ALS update was like not worth losing sleep for. It was not very good. I don't know. Kind of regret grinding that late at night, but it is what it is. I don't know. I'm gonna be tired for a while. Anyways, thank you to my channel members for making this video possible. You guys are the best. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. We'll see you in the next one, and have a great day.